All right, welcome to today's explainer. We're jumping right in today because we are taking a totally different approach to something that causes, well, let's be honest, way too many of us sleepless nights. We're talking about debt. But right out of the gate, I need you to do me a favor and just drop the guilt. Seriously, debt is not a character flaw. It's not some moral failing or personality trait. It is literally just a solvable math problem waiting for a strategist's battle plan. Today, we're drawing directly from Steve Green's Financial Health in the 30 Steps, from debt chaos to a balanced budget. And we're going to show you exactly how to map out that battlefield and take back control of your financial life. I want you to really let this quote from Steve Green's book sink in for a second. Debt is scary in the same way a dark room is scary. Think about it. The actual danger usually isn't the room itself, right? It's what your imagination completely fills in when you can't see clearly. Psychology actually tells us that uncertainty drastically increases our stress. Your nervous system is just stuck on high alert because it literally can't predict what's coming. Vague, unseen financial threats, they are always far scarier than known realities. By turning the lights on, we validate that anxiety for sure, but we also immediately strip away its power over us. Okay, let's take a quick look at the roadmap. Today we're covering 6 steps: the emotional reality, building the map, the cost of interest, danger zones, naming the mission, and finally, your attack strategy. Just having this laid out in front of us kind of reduces the stress already, doesn't it? Section 1. The emotional reality of debt. Before we even touch a spreadsheet, we really have to look at the psychology here because debt triggers a massive emotional storm, way before it impacts our bank accounts. We tend to bounce between two very different lenses. First, there's the emotional view. When debt is undefined, it just triggers shame, fear, and this deep, sinking sense of helplessness. You catch yourself thinking, man, I should be better at this. But you absolutely have to separate your personal self-worth from the math. You are not your credit score. You are not your balance. We need to shift your identity from being a victim of this emotional storm to being a general gathering intelligence. And that's the strategic view, relying on structure, data, and an action plan. Because getting out of debt isn't powered by sheer motivation. It's powered by structure. When we stay stuck in that emotional view, it is human nature to just look away. But avoidance is expensive. Behavioral finance research consistently shows that when we don't have a consolidated view of what we owe, we underestimate our total balances and wildly overestimate our progress. You end up reacting only to the loudest bill, the one screaming in red letters. And because you're ignoring the whole picture, that fear of unknown financial costs secretly bleeds into your everyday life. It paralyzes your daily decisions. You end up making reactive purchasing choices based on this constant background anxiety rather than logical planning. So this brings us to the core tool of today's explainer, the debt map. What is it exactly? Well, it is basically a spreadsheet version of honesty. Absolute, unflinching honesty in your financial documentation is literally the only way to neutralize the shame. It takes that paralyzing fear and turns it into actionable data. Think about it like going to the doctor. A medical scan doesn't create the illness. It just creates the possibility for treatment. Your debt map does the exact same thing for your finances. It replaces all that scattered, vague stress with completely structured awareness. Section 2, building your master debt map. So the crucial point is, how do we actually build this thing? Let's move straight into the tactical steps. This inventory process takes maybe 30 to 45 minutes, but it requires you to be completely thorough. Step 1, gather every single statement and log into every single account. Step 2, list out all those formal debts: credit cards, student loans, car loans, medical bills, even those sneaky buy now, pay later plans. But step 3 is incredibly vital. You absolutely must list informal debts to family and friends. Yes, that $300 you still owe your sister for those concert tickets needs to be on this list. You have to see the entire monster if you actually want to defeat it. And hey, if your stomach tightens up while you're doing this, that is completely normal. It's literally just your nervous system adjusting to the reality of the numbers. Think of this table as your battle dashboard. To build your debt map, you just need these exact columns: the creditor or debt name, the total balance, the APR or interest rate, the minimum payment, the due date, and the status. Putting every single detail into this simple, boring table magically turns terrifying chaos into manageable, logical data. You aren't just looking at some big, scary total balance anymore. You are actually looking at the mechanics of your debt. The moment you fill this out, your debt has a shape. It's not a fog anymore. Section 3, the hidden cost of interest. Now that we've got the map, we need to understand the terrain, specifically how debt actually works behind the scenes. This is going to explain why you often feel like you are working so hard but not making a dent. Just think about the number 1,200 for a second. If you have a $5,000 credit card balance at a 24% APR, that is roughly how much it costs you every single year in interest alone if you just leave it unpaid. So when you feel like your balance is barely budging month to month, please know it's not because you're lazy. You are fighting a massive mathematical headwind. And this brilliantly illustrates why understanding the mechanics of your debt is so absolutely vital. Interest is quietly eating your progress. Data from the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau actually shows that borrowers vastly underestimate how long it takes to pay off debt when they're only making minimum payments. Your completed debt map finally reveals the true cost of waiting. Section 4. Identifying your danger zones. Now that you can see exactly how expensive waiting can be, we need to spot the debts that are the absolute highest threats to your monthly budget. So look at your completed debt map. You're going to want to circle any debt that meets these danger zone criteria. Is the APR above 15 or 20%? Is the account at risk of going to collections? Are they hitting you with late fees? Or are the minimum payments just incredibly high compared to the actual balance? By spotting these loud alarms on your map, you immediately identify your highest financial risks. And this is huge because it helps you prioritize strategically instead of just reacting to whichever company mails you the most angry letters. A really great way to think about having a bunch of fragmented debts is to picture the Hydra from mythology. You know, the monster that grows multiple heads. Those heads represent your multiple balances, the different due dates, the varying interest rates. It feels incredibly overwhelming. But here's the secret. The Hydra is not defeated by panic. It is defeated by strategy. Your completed debt map is your weapon. Instead of just swinging wildly in the dark, hoping to hit something, you use your map to target the exact right head first. Section 5. Naming your payoff mission. Okay, mapping and analyzing all this data can get a little heavy, so let's introduce a fun psychological pressure release valve to keep your momentum going. What is your mission codename? I highly recommend gamifying this process. Give your debt elimination plan a cool title. Call it Operation Freedom, Project Zero Balance, or hey, the Hydra Slayer Protocol. Research in goal progress psychology actually proves that having clearly defined, named sub-goals boosts your motivation. Naming your mission actively reduces the dread. It literally changes the narrative in your head from, ugh, I am suffering through all this debt, to, I am an operative executing a targeted mission. Section 6. Choosing your attack strategy. Let's move to the final piece and see what we actually do with all this completed intelligence. It's time to choose your attack strategy. Because you took the time to separate out your emotions and build a purely logical debt map, you finally have the power to choose your path. Generally, there are two main strategies here. First is the avalanche method. This is where you target the debt with the highest APR first. It gives you maximum mathematical efficiency and, frankly, saves you the most money on interest overall. On the flip side, we have the snowball method. This targets the smallest balance first, completely ignoring the interest rate. Why? Because it provides massive emotional momentum when you knock out those quick wins. Your debt map lets you look at your danger zones and make a conscious, empowered decision about which strategy is going to keep you the most motivated. We've covered a ton of ground today, but if you take away absolutely nothing else from this explainer, remember this. Debt becomes manageable the exact moment it stops being vague. Clear, honest data turns a paralyzing, unknown fear into a straightforward step-by-step action plan. You've just converted your anxiety into data and your feeling of overwhelm into a strategy. Because unlike a foggy, scary dark room, a list can actually be worked through, one single line at a time. You've gathered the intelligence, you've neutralized the shame with complete honesty, you have your battle plan ready to go. So, I'll leave you with this final thought. As you look over your very own debt map today, your map is built. Which head of the Hydra are you going to strike first?